Hi there, Rabbi. And may I point out that this is not what we typically expect from you, the one lane dead end perspective. We come to you for hope and optimistic guidance. What's going on?
You'll notice that I'm standing here before you get on that one lane bridge to a dead end. And that's why I'm here and I picked it. I read a neat article by a CEO, CFO from one of our big corporations, and I followed up. There were several other articles, and it got me thinking, and that's why I'm standing at this one way bridge at a dead end. The articles I'm reading say a work life balance doesn't work with all work, and we're torturing ourselves. The thrust of the articles I read in Fortune and Inc. and other magazines was don't choose to work for a company, don't choose an occupation that you don't like to do that isn't going to occupy you. As a rabbi, choosing to be a rabbi, and we joke about there is no choice. There's no work life. There is no need to balance it because those of us who heard the calling chose this to dedicate our lives to this. And that's the thrust of the articles I'm reading. It's very demanding to be a surgeon. It's very demanding to be a doctor. It's very demanding to be a cartoonist. It's very demanding to write for a newspaper or magazine that has deadlines. And to try to pretend that I can do that and have nice times and tell my family, well, gee, I have an emergency, I have surgery I have to do, but I'm not going to do it because we're going to go to the beach. The thrust of the article, and I'm 100% behind it, don't pick a job, an occupation, or a career where you can't balance. Not every job position allows us this work-life balance. It's the uh, elephant in the room, and the articles and the things we're torturing each other. It reminds me of when women started to get away from being nurses, teachers, or just being homemakers, and they entered the workforce and they started getting great careers and jobs and contributing to the economy. They turned around and said to their partners, I can't do this job and be a stay at home mother. And I think they're the perfect example of what the articles are talking about. We have to, for partners, for people, take a look, share, see if you can make it work, but don't put the onus on the person. And we're torturing ourselves. I've been thinking about this for 2 weeks now, Joe, and everything falls into place. The idea that there cannot be a work-life balance with certain work or jobs, careers. Chefs, talk to a chef about what their life is like. Nothing wrong with being a chef, but make that your commitment. Make that your passion. And that's what you're willing to do. And the other is sheer torture, Joe.
But this is different than the guy who goes to the bank every week, every day of the week, and then goes home at night and figures out how to make more money for the bank. Or not to say anything bad against bankers, or people who are dedicated to the stock market or stuff like that. But there's a distinction between the passion for doing something and then doing something simply because the more you work at it, the more money you'll make.
I think we could make that distinction. But that's the same topic. Don't go into something and sacrifice something else and then bemoan the fact that you can't do something that you sacrificed. And I think the mistake we're making, and the article pointed out, we're not sitting down and looking at it. If you want to become an attorney and you decide to have your own practice, you're going to have to decide how much money you're going to make will be limited by how much time you're willing to put into it. And I think the mistake we make is not thinking about it. That's why I'm standing at the bridge. Don't go down that bridge. Don't go into an occupation. Don't go into a job without sitting down and saying, This is what it'll take. This is the amount of time it'll take to get me to my goals. And that's what the article awakened me to. There is no life work balance. Let's stop that right away. And let's start with, what do I want to do with my life? How am I going to earn money? And what occupation or job am I going to pick? And how much of my life will that take up? And I'm doing it. It's okay. But don't do it if it's not going to be okay.
Well, and even if it's something that most people see as essential in a form of dedication like law enforcement, Andy Griffith occasionally went fishing with Opie. But it's all about the choices. And my choice, as always, is to go with you, Rabbi. Thank you, as always.
You're spot on, because if I go into law enforcement, I could just stay in the rank and file, work my tour of duty, and then I'm not going to be called in unless it's an emergency. However, if I want to move up the ranks, if I want to be a supervisor, if I want to be in charge of something, then that's going to take away from the family side. Rather than it being by accident, let's start by making it a choice. We might be able to have our cake and eat it too.